begin to settle into the ground, becoming increasingly relaxed just by being here. The breath is trying to go deeper. It's like each breath is an invitation to go as deep as possible. So as we're breathing, as our body is preparing to receive our class today, this time that we get to practice together, the idea that I was thinking of for today's class is another gratitude. This month is one that I like to just focus so much on all that we do have in our lives, all this abundance, all this amazing stuff that we have that makes our life in this time, in this age, really pretty spectacular. So one of those big ones that I was thinking about today is freedom. And I was thinking about in our bodies when we get those chronically tight spots, like the common ones are low back, in between shoulders and neck, top of shoulder area. Those are kind of our chronic tight spots for a lot of people. When we get those tight spots, it kind of limits our ability to move freely. And so I was thinking about how that relates to freedom, because in that case, that kind of inhibits it within our own body. And so as we move through our bodies, as we loosen some of our tight spots up today, imagine that each and every thing that we do that helps us is not only working on the physical level, but there's deeper lessons to be learned from our body. It's kind of funny how language works, where you have to define a word by using other words or explaining what it's not. And so think of us today trying to define freedom for ourselves. Well, freedom is obviously not that tightness. Freedom is not contraction. It's, and trying to just explore in our body, what is freedom to me? Just feeling this gratitude for our bodies and how freely they do work, even if it's not 100% perfect always. Just so grateful that they do work as well as we do. So that's the idea that I was thinking of for our class today. So with that to get us started, let's begin to take the knees into the chest. Today, let's even scoop our hands around the back sides of the knees so it lifts the hips up a little bit higher. And let's take our gentle rocking from that really tight hugged spot. Deep breaths flowing for us already. And as we start to release, we're going to keep the knees like this kind of a bug on its back shape, and even take bent elbows. And what we're going to do is tap the feet to the floor and the fists to the floor above us, and then crunch up so that elbows and thighs touch. So inhale is when the hands and feet touch the floor. Exhale is when elbows and thighs touch. A nice inhale. Exhale. This is helping to build a little bit of those muscles up in the low back. Nice core strengthening. Let's take another 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. As head just gets to relax down, let the feet land about as wide as the mat. Both knees will fall over to the left and stay. So feel how that starts to pull some extra space across the right hip area. It might be the front of the hip for you. It might be the side of the hip. Only if it doesn't bug that right knee, you have the option to take left foot, rest on the right thigh, If it bugs the knees to any degree, just drop the foot back down. It's not necessary. Feel that internal rotation of one leg, external rotation of the other. One more huge breath. Let it flow in. Let it flow out. Dropping the left foot down if it lifted. Let's take 3 windshield wipers to switch sides. So go to the right, back to the left. And then when we go to the right this time, stay. Option to take the right ankle up to the left thigh if we did that on the other side. Feel how these muscles on this half are releasing into the shape. A few more deep breath cycles for this half. Dropping the ankle down, do a few bonus windshield wipers. Especially notice how the first one feels pretty tight, but as we keep on going with that motion, it eventually gets a little bit easier through the hip joints. More receptive to that opening. Good. So when we're ready to come back upright, let's walk the feet just a little bit closer, preparing for some bridge poses. Hands slide into the floor right by the hips. Feet are in line with the hips. With our inhale, roll hips and then lift up 1 vertebrae at a time. And then exhale, roll all the way back down. Let's take a few more of those, flowing with the breath. Inhale. Exhale. Let's take 5. 4. 3. 2. 'Last one, lifting up as high as you can. Rolling all the way back down. Good. Let the right leg stretch clear up to the sky. Grab onto the back side of that leg. Upping up. Lengthen through the hamstring. As we start to release the right leg, let it cross really tightly over the left leg, kind of like eagle's pose shape. So instead of the figure 4, it's the knee crossing. Take the right elbow under the left elbow, winding the arms like eagle's arms. Try to relax the shoulders down away from the direction of the ears as the fingertips try to come to the ground right above the head. It's okay if they don't touch all the way. Feel the shoulder area expanding open. We're going to take 5 crunches from here to an inhale press. Exhale, twisted arms, touch twisted legs. And inhale back down. Take another 4. And 3. 2, 1. Release the arms, they spread open. Take the thighs into the chest. We're gonna grab onto each ankle. So right hand grabs for that left ankle, left hand for right. It's just really the ankle that flings off to that side. Good. Breathe some extra space into the hips here. More huge inhale. And exhale, arms slide back open. Take the twisted legs into a twist to the left. So right thigh is still over, legs fall over to the left. So this freeing up some more spaces on the back and on the hips. Perhaps notice in the body this freedom that we're looking for so that every breath and every movement comes without pain. Maybe that freedom isn't always easy to obtain, if that's the word. It does take a little bit of work. If you just wake up first thing in the morning and get going with your routine, never taking time for the physical body, it's like the body gets tighter and tighter and tighter. So notice how it does take a little bit of effort to have this kind of freedom. Just take another huge inhale. Exhale. Return the hips back to the ground. Let's open legs up to sky as we're unwinding them. And let them widen out to a figure V shape. Hands are welcome to rest on the inner thighs, helping to weigh and open with gravity. Another huge inhale. Exhale, legs come together, right foot goes to the ground, left leg stays up, grab onto it, pull that hamstring into the stretch. Another good inhale. Exhale, when we release, we're crossing that left knee nice and tightly over the right knee. And left elbow lines under the right. Try to get the palms to wrap if they can. If not, it's okay. Backs of hands is also fine. But shoulders try to travel away from where the ears are. And then the fingertips, just see how close they can get to the ground right above the head. So that's stretching more of the top part of the shoulders. Slow, easy breaths does it. Another good inhale. Exhale. And our next inhale is the prep for the crunches. Exhale is when we lift the elbows and the thighs together. Inhale, relax back down. Let's repeat 4. 3, 2, 1. Good. Release the arms. The thighs come back in. We're grabbing onto each ankle that flings off to that side. Feel that deep spaciousness across hips. Yeah, if grabbing for ankles is a little too deep, you can always slip your hands closer to where the knees are. It's always an option. Each breath flows in and out. The arms start to release. Let them spread open. These crossed legs fall over to the right this time. The breath flows in nice and deep. Beautiful exhale. When we take the hips back to ground, let the legs once again go up to sky and then widen open. Hands can come to the inner thighs. Feel if there's a little bit more space. Things have loosened up just a little bit. Here the knees start to bend wide. We slide our hands up to happy baby. If this already is hitting the spot, just stay still. Some days this is it. Other days I need to rock a little bit, going a little bit to the left, a little bit to right. So movement is also fine if you prefer. Your way, let's take another 3 good breaths. Beautiful. Starting to release the hands from the feet. Let's rock our way up toward a seated place. From this seat, let's keep the feet planted on the ground. We'll hover the hands at our sides. We're going to curl the spine, engage the core, and sink to kind of like a half boat position. If legs also want to float in this half boat, that's fine. Let's hold here, keep on breathing. We're doing a count of 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Setting the heels down, let the knees open up. It's a wider or further forward cobbler than normal. Let's relax the spine forward. Start to feel the muscles at the back release in that further forward shape. Gentle swaying for the low back. This could be fast swaying, or you could take lots of time each side. I personally like to have the hands on the floor each side just to support my spine. But take some time with the spine going over to the right leg. Some time over to the left leg. If you want to go fast, that's fine. If you like this nice, really slow motion, that's okay too. Notice what feels useful and helpful for that low back area. Eventually, let's return back through the center. If you need another side or two to keep it in balance, that's okay. Up with the spine, let's feel the direct contrast between a really tight cobbler's pose. Pull it in as much as feels good. Just notice the difference. You don't have to go nearly so far forward. Just feel. Be with the body. Another good inhale. Nice exhale. Gently lifting up. Let's allow knees to lift up. We're taking a nice little spinal twist. So hook the left wrist or forearm for that right thigh. And the other hand is behind, just twist the spine. Good. Unwind and take the second side. Beautiful. We're turning forward, simple cross leg. Right hand drops to right side, left hand reaches up and over. This is a spot where you can explore with freedom, kind of like we were swaying with the back too. So maybe you're leaning slightly forward. Maybe that gets a good shoulder blade area. Maybe arching slightly up and back, opening the spine. So movement or stillness. We'll go about 3 more breaths on this half. Find a spot that works. Stay. The next exhale, rise up. Switch sides. Same patience, same time. Movement or stillness. Whatever's feeling useful for this part of the body. Inhale. Exhale. Let it rise back up. Just a moment for the neck. The right ear drop to right shoulder. My left shoulder is purposely pulling down and away. Slow motion rolling of the chin down through the chest. Eventually left ear to left shoulder. Remember the right pulls down and away. And let's go over to right one more time. Over to left. Beautiful. Release chin to chest. And straighten spine up. Let's send our legs underneath our body. Nice kneeling spot. Let's take some cat cows. Start to pull movement. And the muscles of the back connect together, rounding up and down. With the breath. Two more full rounds with your breath cycle. Beautiful. Tucking the toes, let's go right up to a downward facing dog. Lift the hips. Good. The first goal is spine lifting as high as possible. So spine is nice and straight, knees are high. Even if the knees are a little bit bent, that's okay. Notice how that frees up the low back quite a bit. As the body creates more space, you can have more of that freedom to straighten the legs eventually. Another huge inhale. Nice exhale. Let's walk our feet forward up to top of mat. Couple of breaths just to relax the spine. That's on shins or floor, whatever feels nice. Our next inhale to rise all the way up, circle arms to sky, slight back bend. Good. Hands all the way down to heart. Starting to circle the arms up to the sky, feel that freedom in the shoulders. Exhale, dive all the way down, arms swinging through the sides. Until the feet about as wide as mat. And the toes outward. Sit down toward the Balasana shape. If you want to go higher squat, that's fine. Almost push into the knees, hoping those hips to open up. Good. Usually there's one spot where the balance works pretty well with the feet. So if you're not quite there, scoot in or out. Let's take one more huge breath. Go in, and out. Fingers drop down, turn the toes forward, straighten the legs again. New space when the legs are a little bit wider. From here, slide the right foot to the back of the mat. Lowering that right knee down. We're in lizard shape. So you can stay on hands. Sometimes people will lower one elbow or both. Feel that freedom, feel the opening in the hip area. Slow, easy breaths, just keep them flowing. Good inhale. Exhale. Come back up to hands if you lowered. We're shifting the hips over the back knee. Front leg straightens even though it's wide. Let yourself bow forward, reaching the fingertips as far up to the top of the mat as you can. Feel the spine getting pulled long. Walk the hands back in. That left knee comes underneath our body. Camel pose. Perhaps tucking the toes for those additional inches. Hands come to the low back. Push hips forward. Lift the heart up. Walk the head back. You can stay with this prep version or drop one or both hands to heels. Sometimes we'll just go half, so one at a time. And then a couple of breaths with a second. Beautiful. When you come back up with hands to the low back, that keeps the low back safe as we rise back up. Let's slide hands forward, plank or kneeling plank. Take 5 push-ups. Inhale to lower. Exhale to press up. 4, 3, 2, 1. Cobra, hips lower down. If you need to lower to Sphinx instead, that's also beautiful. Sometimes shaking in the hips so the low back will really clean. Good. And child pose. Knees can be wide or narrow. Arms can be forward or backward. Your huge breath flows in and out. A moment with downward facing dog. Sometimes those hips, if they still feel tight, or the low back, sometimes I'll purposely rock one knee to a bent shape and then the other, or I'll wiggle my hips around. Good. From here, let's slide the left foot forward. The outside of left hand. Or sorry, second side is right foot forward. Apologize. Okay, and we're going to take that lizard pose. So hips sink forward. You can stay on wrists or lower one or both elbows. Sometimes right and left sides are very different. So wiggles to any degree that helps things out. Anything that's helpful, take it, right? One more deep breath here. Nice exhale. Back up to hands. Hips go over the back knee, front leg straightens to this wide angle. And then fingers try to walk as far forward as possible. Another huge breath, pull in and out. Good. Walk the hands back in, the knee comes underneath. Let's take another camel, maybe the toes tuck. Hands to the low back to help keep those muscles feeling good. Hips forward, heart lifts. You can just stay here in the prep, or maybe one or both hands go down. One more inhale. Nice exhale. Return to the low back before you rise. Once again, plank or kneeling plank. 5 more push-ups. Ready? Inhale. Exhale to the hands. 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. Cobra, or if you prefer Sphinx, that's fine. Maybe wiggles for the low back, wiggles for the shoulders, maybe even gaze over one shoulder, over the second side. Good. Another couple of breaths with the child pose. Any preference, arms forward, back, knees narrow, wide, it's all up to you. Ready? Take it back up, downward facing dog. Walking the feet up to top of mat, forward fold. Let's here for another good inhale. Nice exhale. Inhale, swing the arms through the sides to rise. Hands down to the heart. Wind the right elbow under the left elbow. Palms wrap if possible. For this one, push the elbows forward, rounding the spine backwards. Get that freedom in the upper back. A couple of really good breaths here. Good. Straighten the spine up, shoulders relax down. We're going to try for eagle's pose. So send the hips back first. Shifting your weight onto left foot, the right thigh tries to wrap around. Sometimes it's on the floor like a kickstand, sometimes it's toes wrapping around calf. Maybe elbows can sink just a little bit lower. Good. Keep the elbows wound as we straighten standing leg, floating this right knee. Gonna kick that leg back like a warrior 3 variation. Landing that right foot into warrior 1. The elbows lift up to sky. Last moment where they're wound. One more inhale. Exhale. Circle Pull the arms down to release, then sweep back up. Inhale. Exhale, rotate open, warrior two. Extended side angle. The left elbow can go to thigh or left fingers to floor. If anybody wants to go for the bind around that thigh, that's fine. Beautiful. Allow the top arm to drop down to the floor. Walk yourself to the long edge of the mat, turning the toes with you. And then choose your arm variation for this wide angle forward fold. That's why I said top of mat, sorry, side of mat. So hands can be maybe in elbow creases, maybe in ankles, you get to choose. So hands on the floor. Walk the hands to face the top of mat, the front toes turning with you, back toes turn in a bit. We're trying to take pyramid pose. So heels should be down on both feet, hips squaring forward, front leg straightening. If it's a little bit too tight, you can walk hands up to shins as well. Find length from the hips to the shoulders. Maybe they're super rounded right now. Try to lengthen forward. Really anchor the right hand down, wherever it is, shin or floor. Keeping the spine just really long. We should be able to twist that left hand up to sky. Good. Lower down. The hand, slide the hands a foot forward, supported warrior three, or standing split. Right foot drops down next to left. Next inhale to rise. Comes down to the heart. Good. Left elbow winds under the right elbow. Do the same thing, round the upper back backwards as you push the elbows forwards. That space, that stretching in the upper back. Straighten the spine back up. Shoulders trying to press down away from ears. Set the hips back. Left thigh over, maybe extend, maybe toe wrap around the calf. You sink a little bit lower with the elbows. Good. Loading the left knee, straighten the standing leg. Get back warrior three variation. Landing warrior one, elbows lift up to sky. More inhale. Exhale, release, drop the arms down. Sweep up, inhale. Another bonus inhale. Exhale, warrior two. Extended side angle. Right elbow can go to right thigh. Or fingers to floor. Your arm extends forward, or if you're playing with the bind, you can wind around the thigh. Huge inhale. Exhale. That left arm comes to floor. Again, walk your hands to the long edge of the mat. 2 straight legs, drop down. Maybe a new arm position this time, or maybe not. For more and more freedom in the back, in the spine. We'll start to turn forward to pyramid pose. So walk hands up to top of mat. Front leg trying to stay straight. If you need to shorten the stance a little, that's okay. Sometimes we'll walk up to the shins instead. Try to notice if the back hip is really lifting backwards a lot. Try to see if you can square it more forward. Anchor the left hand wherever it is, shin or floor. Kind of straighten the spine forward. And see if that right hand can lift up to sky. Exhale, hand down, slide the hands forward, float the back leg. Standing split. Another good inhale. Exhale, foot drops down. From here, let's take a nice half lift. Inhale. Exhale, plant the hands. Slide the feet back. Last time of the day to do push-ups. If you want to lower the knees, that's fine. Let's take another 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Beautiful. Cobra or Sphinx. This time straight to down dog. Right leg lifts up to sky. Side of knee slides under and through. Good, pigeon pose. Stay in the back bend if that feels good for a little while, or lower to sleeping pigeon. Body relaxing. Any additional tension we can discover here, try to gather it up with your breath. Huge inhales. A nice release with that exhale, leaving the body feeling more alive, more free. Inhale. Nice exhale. Let's begin to switch sides. So it might be nice to take a down dog in between. It might be nice just to head to kneeling. Up to you. Let's give the hips a couple of free movements if that feels nice, whether it's down dog or kneeling. Just easy loosening up with that low back. And then whether you're transitioning to second side pigeon through down dog or not, let's eventually slide left leg through. Good. Once again, inhales, gather up tension. Exhales, let it right out. One last deep inhale. Beautiful exhale. Good. Another moment of that kind of recovery pose, whatever we like, the down dog or the kneeling. Sometimes by this point in class, it's really nice just to shake the hips, feel that low back and feel the hips so much more free. Good. When you're ready, sooner or later for sitting, go ahead and take your legs out in front of you. On our glutes. Let's keep the left foot tucked in, right leg opens out long. First, let's plant the right hand in front of that right leg. Left shoulder peels back. And left arm reaches up and over. Lifting back up, turn your sternum to try to face that right leg and slide forward and through. These little bonuses for the body, bonuses for hamstrings, for back, all sorts of goodies. Walk the hands through the center for a couple of breaths, just however deep that is. Good, walking in. Let's switch our legs out. Left hand plants in front of left leg. Pull the right shoulder back to reach it over. Good inhale. Exhale, rise, just twist sternum toward that straight left leg and slide down. Through the center. Raising up. Just a couple of bonus breaths with both legs open, walking forward and through. This starts our transition toward our Shavasana over the next couple of minutes. So if this is the spot that leads to the most freedom in your body, keep on maintaining this for a couple more breaths. If there's other thing your body wants you to do before we wrap up, go ahead and take those last things. With as much time as you need, even a full minute or two, until eventually the body feels ready to completely relax in our Shavasana shape. Like no rush to get there ever, so keep on exploring. Keep on taking all the time it needs for your body. Sooner or later, we'll end up in that beautiful Shavasana, that place where we can just breathe, release. You get there? See if you can find a breath that feels kind of like a breath of freedom. Whatever that means for you. How freely can we breathe? Maybe that means breathing, paying attention to how it feels passing through the throat. Maybe it means breathing in a way that your heart is expansive. Or maybe it's breathing clear down into the belly. Try to find your body relaxing into the most free type of breath possible. Notice how nice it is that the body is like it has no cares after being stretched out all over the place. We've got several minutes just to relax here together. Just allow good deep inhales and exhales to flow. And let's begin to deepen our inhales. Our exhales. Introduce little movements back to fingers and toes. Ankles and wrists. Stretching out like we're waking up first thing in the morning. At some point, it might feel nice to take a little fetal position off to one side. You're welcome to if that feels good for your body. Maybe another 2 or 3 breaths until you feel ready to rise. So here with hands at heart, notice if your body taught you anything about the definition of freedom for yourself. Was there anything that felt more like the opposite of freedom, whatever that would be defined as? And did that help to illuminate what freedom is within your system? At what points did we feel the most open, the most expansive? Just notice if there's any little lessons your intuition has for you. So with this tremendous gratitude toward freedom to help lead us on, let's wrap up the time that we got to share together with the sound of Om. Deep inhale now. May we be filled with light and happiness and peace. Namaste.